Love that. Well, thank you both for joining. We'll kick this off. My name is Ryan Okimoto, but you all know me as Oki. I essentially lead sales enablement over here at Brilliant. And you're joined by two fantastic guests today on this webinar as we are talking about Blue Sound and BluOS with Marshall Currier. Marshall, thank you for joining.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having
And
me.
yep, and then also joining us from the integrator side is David Berman of ESD Technologies. David, welcome.
So much for having me. Always a pleasure.
Great. So today we're going to be discussing the new integration between Brilliant and BluOS, also known as Blue Sound for you to be more familiar with. Hey, Marshall got his plug-in
It's
unit
working
right
great.
there. He's going to be able to give a brief live demo just so you can actually hear a speaker working within this integration. But we're going to delve deeper into, if you're not as familiar with Blue Sound and BluOS, a little bit more into who they are, what they do, what they can offer, their solutions in the sound space, and then also pick David's mind a little bit around how to position it, how you can be more profitable in your jobs, why this makes sense, how this integration between Brilliant and BluOS really comes together. So with that, I want to let these gentlemen introduce themselves. So Marshall, I'll pass it off to you. If you want to give an intro of yourself, your role, that would be fantastic for everybody to learn about you.
I see we already have a question in there from Nicholas. Way to go, Nicholas. So, yeah, thank you for having me again. This is a treat. We do on the Lenbrook side of the fence. I see some folks have joined us also here live. If you're watching live, welcome. We do a weekly training ourselves, a weekly live training, and then we have, some other opportunities. But yeah, so a quick bit on me, 30 seconds. Marshall Currier, national trainer, and I've been with the company really since the beginning of Blue Sound. So going back 12, 13 years. And I've had other systems before. I've been a trainer in the business for over 20 years. Berman and I go way back to Monster Cable days. There you go. He's got that Monster Power Center in his background there as well. I can see that. Yes, 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 yes. But what's fun about what we're talking about today is a new partnership, and it's a new partnership with a very very cool. I should say it's not really we. Brilliant, we're happy to be a part of Brilliant's growing family of integration platforms. Music is a big part of lighting. It's a big part of multi-room control. It tells a great story. And I know there are lots of other trends in the business with shading and lights and security. Brilliant brings all that together, of course, in a lightweight, awesome piece of hardware and a great platform. And we're thrilled to be a part of that platform, bringing our high-res music solutions to the platform. So, when we say Blue OS, what we're really talking about is this right here. Blue OS is basically 80 different products that run across the Blue Sound brand, the NAD CI brand, the NAD Classic Series, Master Series, Theater Series, plus as well some partnerships that we have. So when we say Blue OS, that's kind of what we're talking about here. So yeah, thanks again for having me.
Ah, that was fantastic. Perfect. And for those that don't know David, please introduce yourself.
20 seconds, all phases of our business. I'm the spiritual father to Oki and Marshall Currier. Actually,
Mentor.
quick story is just many years in manufacturing, many years in integration, um, and one of the early adopters of Brilliant and one of the early retailers and sales arms of NAD slash what eventually became Lenbrook. I think 19, geez, Marshall, I want to say 1970,
Yeah,
might be 78 when NAD first came into the market. But
76.
anyway, long and short of the story is I'm still a crazy audiophile. And as you can tell from behind me, I used to manufacture some stuff that some people in the industry may know. And it was mostly considered on the high end or audiophile side. So I think for no other reason but today's conversation, I can speak to both aspects of the client base, from the entry level with Brilliant and Sonos all the way up to what Marshall and I used to do in the old days. So thanks for having me.
No, that's perfect, and that's why we wanted to have you on because you do bring a lot of great perspective and experience into that premium audio space, along with just the technology side of it. Being advocates for both our brands, which is fantastic, and being able to have a business model built around it too, which is the whole point. We're here as much as it's to play with fun toys and enjoy it. We're also here to build a business, make money, and be profitable on our jobs too. So that's the second part of everything that we do. So with that, as we kick this off, I want to start with you here, Marshall. Just for those that aren't familiar, you briefly touched on that slide. I'd love to hear how BlueOS really positions itself in the market in audio and how it's attacking really music inside of the home right now. What is the objective? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it a little bit more on the builder? Is it more on the renovation, the semi-custom? Really, what are you targeting, and how does that play into this space?
Well, thanks again, Oki, for having me. Let me pull up that slide again and give you guys some additional context as I talk about some different pieces. So, we as a company have multiple consumer brands, and then in the CEDIA channel, we obviously have a number of other brands as well. Many of you have heard of NAD. Many of you have heard of our various audio products and on the CI side, as well as home theater and two channel. A lot of people think of Blue Sound as being, of course, a big competitor in the marketplace for consumer audio, multi-room audio. And we built a product, a back end to Blue Sound called the Blue Sound Operating System, or BluOS. And we've taken BluOS and put BluOS into over 80 different products that we carry. I think what's really meaningful about the marketplace, let me kill my slide there. About the marketplace is we do go into the marketplace and we do talk to builders. We have relationships with some builders. We do go to the marketplace and we talk with distributors. So you can buy a Blue Sound product and an NAD product at a local distributor. But what's interesting, I think, for the purposes of this call, is that we have a lightweight software layer that's built on Linux. It's again called BluOS. And what's so powerful about it is that when we came out with 4.0, which was our Blue Sound or BluOS controller app about 3 years ago, because we had built and done a lot of the extra heavy duty legwork to build a lightweight OS, it scales, right? When you bog a platform down with, AI features or voice control features or things like that, you end up having to sort of bifurcate that platform and have microphones built into some products, but not built into other products. And so I think what's really powerful about BlueOS is that it's scalable. And so we've put that into so many different solutions. And Brilliant's control platform, especially next gen, works with BlueOS across all 80 different products. And because it scales so well, we're not getting distracted with having to build some other things in the consumer space. We are focused in the CEDIA space. And that slide I showed you, we've got some NAD products in there that have yet to come out, but we have some new NAD pieces, and I won't talk too much about them, but they're in our CI family, and we showed them last year at CEDIA, and they're going to be coming out here in the next month or so.
I was about to say we always love a little bit of new information of what's coming next because usually the canned response is we can't comment on future products. So
Yes, yes.
as they much as that you love to pry and they always, what's next? You got to tell us. We can't. You can actually share a little bit, which is great.
I can. I'll do that super fast. So what I'm talking about regarding the new stuff is this right here. So we've got three new one-third rack width pieces. Most people think about Blue Sound, a competitor to Helios, competitor to Sonos. But in the CI space, this is the stuff you really want to be focusing on. And, for years we've had this NAD CI 580, and now we're introducing our next generation platform, which is called the CI SA2 and SA2 120. And then we have some other modular solutions. But the point is these products here in the top right quadrant are not sold on Amazon, right? They're not sold broadly online. They're really not sold online at all. And what's so significant, of course, is that we want to make you all profitable, give you all a competitive advantage, and make it kind of lift all boats there and provide some really killer solutions. So those products offer HDMI. Those products are one-third rack width, and those new pieces that are 1U are all two zone. So they actually do dual discrete zones. That's why it's called the S2 and the SA2, is it's a two-zone solution. So you can actually fit three of them side by side by side in a 1U space and have six zones of music there. So it's very, very scalable.
Yeah. And then David, you just give a thumbs up for that. So you hear a partner like Blue Sound, Blue OS delivering that to you. What does that ring and what ideas does that spark for you as the integrator who's going out and installing this in people's homes?
Well, there's a lot. Our first hump was to get people to recognize that better amplification, better streaming, better speakers, better experience. And most people, as you probably are well aware, really don't know what better is, except in that it's better than what they have now or better than what they had before. So their experience level, very few people ever get to sit in a Ferrari, so they have no idea why it would ever cost $1 million. Right? That's the BluOS experience. You've been around streaming and you've played with other products and you think you have some idea, you have no idea. Put it in front of a good pair of speakers with the BluOS interface and that level of amplification, that quality of sound. That's really the type of experience that I think differentiates the dealer as well as the product. If you can present it to your customer in an affordable fashion, in a way that they can use it, there's value to it. And I think that's what we've been missing on the lower end side of our business. So every aspect of BluOS for me speaks to desire to enjoy the experience, not just have music on while I'm vacuuming kind of thing. Right?
No, you have to have that. I mean, if you have the speakers like that in your background, you're not going to be doing it while you're
He's
vacuuming.
vacuuming all the time,
Yeah,
constantly vacuuming.
exactly.
You're going to blow out the
Enjoy
vacuum
it.
can't compete with the speakers is really what it
That's
comes
right.
down to.
That's right.
And let me also add this, as a speaker guy who spent a lot of money and time developing loudspeakers, one of the things that I'm keenly aware of is that a $150 in-ceiling loudspeaker can sound really good with the right amplification. And we do it all day long. That is what ESD Technologies was founded on. Production home buyers buying inexpensive houses with limited budgets who still want to experience everything that the wealthy do in their house. We can bring that to them in a way that gives them a path and gives them affordability and the same level of experience, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, and that's a really great transition into how kind of BlueOS and Brilliant makes sense. You talked about controlling a system and ease of use. How do you position that, David? As like, hey, great, this is, we're going to upgrade your speakers, but let's also upgrade how you experience the speakers themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So control is as integral as the actual experience. It's inseparable. And I have clients all day long that tell me to rip out $30,000 worth of C4 stuff that was put in 6 or 7 years ago because they're the only guy in the house that can use it and they hate the remote or whatever else that happens to be. In much the same fashion as I got behind NAD and BluOS, I did with Brilliant 10 years ago, or at least 8 years ago. And we got in at the early level because there was nobody addressing the client's desire to experience that without spending 50, 60, $100,000 on tech that really wasn't in their wheelhouse. So Brilliant was that linchpin. It bridged the gap between do it yourself and professional level stuff. It worked with a majority of things that people were already buying and delivered an integrator level experience without 20 days and 100 grand worth of programming. And then when you combine it with the tools that work with it, like BluOS or Honeywell thermostat or a Casa light switch, you can deliver a 20, 50, $100,000 experience to a client without recurring revenue, without commitment. It gets them into that type of technology and enjoyment for long term. Now they have a path, a way
Yeah.
to buy and to get better, right?
No, and I just selfishly I want to hear your excitement around it or your experience, David, when we first came out with it. You were a beta tester, like because you've
Yeah.
had BlueOS speakers in your home for a while, and I'm sure you put it through its paces without a doubt. And
I'm going to
just
see
how
if
was
I can
that for you?
I'm going to see if I can share my desktop real quick so I can show you what my actual desktop looks like.
Oh
You gotta
boy,
hide all the POs. Hide all the POs.
I believe we
Where
have your
are you?
share
Here's your
screen enabled.
Zoom.
So
Hang on, I got to get into your screen. Sorry.
You
There
know,
it is.
I know
You
David's
see it?
used this longer than I have, but just having this in my home, mapping it to my lighting system, making it part of BlueOS, it was instant. Setup was easy. It's
Yeah.
just, I love David's
I
comment
have
about the programming cost. That's one of those blind spots, I think, with a lot of not only consumers, but a lot of integrators as well. Because you think about it, if the client changes a music service or changes a video service, you have to go back in and make all the buttons on the remote control go to the right services.
You're exactly right.
And
Exactly right.
Drivers,
cord cuttings exasperated that issue.
yeah, the
Yeah,
drivers
well,
that
to
fail
your
or when they don't update properly and everything along those lines, the constant truck rolls, those systems are amazing when they're programmed right and when they work, but that's the caveat. It's when they work. And it's a weird analogy here for you, but I just wrapped up a fantasy basketball league for sports, and so many people were injured, and we were joking around the league. The best ability was availability. It was
Right.
just
yes,
the guys who were there were the ones that ended up
Right.
winning. And same
Put
thing,
me in, coach.
dealers that install systems that just keep working, those are the ones that are going to win because they're not relying on truck rolls. They're building happy clients, and the word of mouth continues to spread.
well,
Right.
and let me chime in as to not alienate certainly people within our audience. I, like all of us, want to sell high-end
Oh,
programmable recurring
absolutely.
type systems, right? But at the end of the day, I have a limited customer base that allows me to do that. 90% of production buyers that I get fed to me from builders need a path to get to that. And until now, that path has been a Ring doorbell or a Sonos speaker, right? Or a TV that was Samsung and had a SmartThings ecosystem in it. But their ability to control what you can control with programmable and high level systems was never there. There was never a linchpin or a way to get the client emotionally involved in it. I, I would say to, like, as an example, my kids, they grew up in a speaker factory. But when I tried to give them a $10,000 pair of speakers to take off to college, they were like, I'm good. And
Brutal.
Oh,
you
I
think
believe
no.
about
it.
that with clients today. That's clients today. But if they have a Brilliant on their wall and they go to it to turn the lights on, it's a reason to engage.
Yeah.
Now an opportunity for you to give them comfort when they engage, which
Yeah.
then creates the lifestyle, if you follow my drift.
Oh, absolutely. And I think one thing that's important with just a brilliant value prop is getting rid of the anxiety device of the phone. I'm using my phone for my camera right now, but I'd show you. Phone's down. My wife will tell me all the time, you're on your phone too much. And she's absolutely right. I am. But I still want to get to my technology. I still want to control the music. I still want to control the lights. And having the simplicity of a control on the wall, just it makes perfect sense, which is one why we can replace the light switch. But we also came up with our PoE version as well, which we can delve into a little bit because I know BluOS has a PoE device or two. But
I'm going
Marshall,
to
you
pay Marshall a
briefly
real
touched.
quick
Oh, yeah, go
I'm
ahead,
going to pay
David.
Marshall a real quick compliment and say that that was one of the other big catalysts that drew me to BluOS, was that I was already comfortable operating my music in that app, in those apps.
Right.
So BluOS did not make me learn a new process.
Right.
It was much easier to gravitate to, so I got the benefit of better performance and exactly what I was doing before. Get me? Didn't mean to
I,
cut in.
I I think when you think about the user and a user experience and a learning curve, and whether or not we'd like to believe that, all of us are, intelligent beings and rational individuals and technology people, right? When it's after dinner and you just want to turn the system down to talk on the telephone or take a phone call, having that extra control there and having that mute button or having that pause button right there on the wall is huge. Because I think when we try and scale up and think about using our phones for everything, to your point, Oki, it's great, but you need to have a backup. We put a man on the moon with redundancy. You need to have a little bit of redundancy baked in. And so that's why I've loved using the Brilliant here just in the last couple of days or a couple of weeks. And I know BlueOS has got IP control, and we also do lighting systems. There you go. With that nice back box, he's got the same one. There you
Look at
go.
that. Lovely stand.
So having some redundancy is great.
Well, Marshall, I mean, you briefly mentioned your experience because we sent you a plugin to be able to test
Yep.
it out, part of your testing as well to make sure, yep,
Yep.
you can vouch by it, you can stand by it,
Yep.
you're happy to talk about it. What
Awesome.
was your experience with the configuration of that and then adding the BlueOS integration?
Well, it was brilliant. Sorry, it was brilliant because the thing is you need to be able to discover, brilliant on the line of a control system where you've got kind of a host processor and you've got all these accessory remote controls and you've got drivers on one end of the scale, and maybe you need to speak a programming language or troubleshoot a system, but you got to have a laptop and you got to have a database and you got to log in and get all your drivers together and make sure all the hooks work. On one end of the scale, you have that. On the other end of the scale, you have turning on an iPhone for the first time and putting in your password or logging in. I made a Brilliant account online and it automatically discovered my Blue Sound system, my Sonos system, my Philips Hue system, my Belkin Wemos, which now just got discontinued, but they still work. So it automatically discovered, plus a whole bunch of other stuff on my network. And it was immediate. And I already had my names taken care of. I had my room set up because I also use HomeKit at home with Apple products, and you guys work with that. And so it was just, again, on that scale of drivers and updates and weird file formats and needing a laptop, and on the scale of it just works, you guys were way further down this end of the scale. And that was so great for me. Yeah, thumbs up. I'll give myself a thumbs up.
We turned that stuff off, but it still works. Okay,
It
Zoom.
still works because it's brilliant. But I think what was so great was not a lot of technology in my life integrates as quickly and as easily. And when you tie in lighting control, I didn't have to go get new light bulbs. I didn't have to go get, I had a couple of dimmer switches in my kitchen and dining room, and you can drop that in, hardwire it in. I have an old, a 20-year-old Lutron dumb dimmer, and I put this in, and I had lighting control. And so, not having, tying all that in together was so fantastic. And we're thrilled to be a part of your platform. It's a great platform.
And David, you get to kind of experience what Marshall experiences every day that you're out there in the field, seeing these people's kind of eyes light up. I mean, you must have at least dozens of these stories of people like the light bulb turns on for them. They just get it of like, this is so simple. Why hasn't it always been like this? Yeah.
Yeah, again, everybody loves the concept of not having to pull out a CD or clean a record or right all those things that streaming brought to us, storage brought to us. And then secondarily, the issue is, at the end of the day, even a lot of our clients who claim to be technically connected or at least aware of technology are the same people that will call you and say, how do I get the sound bar to turn off so I can hear the TV speakers? Or vice versa, right? Or think that internet and Wi-Fi are the same thing. That's really the danger to the line that we're walking right now is most of our client base, most of them are still straddling that lower line and they're not ready to move up in the experience level yet. This for me is that linchpin, it's a bridge. Everybody likes music. They all want to connect to it in some form or another. And not having to change what you're doing and be able to listen to it anywhere, virtually any device, in a high quality fashion is what this marriage brings. I mean, it's literally visible, high performance entertainment that's easy to use. It's amazing. And once you show a client, even at the 4, 5, $10 million home level, how simple it is. It's, I just showed you my desktop Brilliant on my desk. I
Hmm.
give them a tablet, every system, a $200 Lenovo tablet that has the Brilliant app on it with a separate folder that has the passwords and whatever for the logins, because unlike other systems, all I have to do is select works with Brilliant vendor and enter my credentials. I'm handshaking. Everything's working, right? And what most people, I think, experience in pain is network. It has nothing to ever do with the product. That for me speaks volumes. So at the end of the day, as a dealer, my best advice to everybody listening in is come good with networks and you will never roll a service truck with this product. I mean, it's just that easy.
Yeah, I'd say, and for those that have been on this webinar and followed me a bunch, Wi-Fi in the network is the backbone of the connected home space. Brilliant. We're just the nervous system. We're just sending commands to the different devices, telling them what to do. So we're not a high bandwidth device, but we need that connectivity, and connectivity solves all. I mean, it's really become a modern utility. If you move, you set up your water, you set up your electric, set up your Wi-Fi, or you have an unhappy family. Like that's just kind of a fact behind it. But speaking of, rock solid network connectivity, Brilliant. We just came out with our PoE device available for
Mm.
purchase now, and that is a pro only product. So end users cannot get it. Only by being a partner of ours or one of our distribution partners can you pick up that product. Marshall, is there something on the BlueOS side that is specific as a pro only, or maybe you only need to be a Blue Sound or BlueOS Pro to get?
Yeah, let's talk about that. And thank you for the turnover. So you're seeing on screen there a big family of products. The Silver and Black Master Series products have limited distribution. I can't speak to my partners here. The Blue Sound products are widely available through distribution and, of course, direct dealer access. In the NAD family here in the top right corner, these pieces, of course, are CI integration solutions. And we do offer good distribution of those products through local distributors. So a lot of the bigger, powerhouse guys, a lot of the bigger individual distributors we have agreements with. And so you can pick up some NADCI products that have built-in BlueOS. And I think in terms of branding and names for a company are always some of the most difficult things to do because, of course, a brand communicates a thing. And when we sort of developed the Blue Sound operating system and put it into different products, a lot of people miss the fact that NAD has Blue Sound built in. So basically, where Blue Sound tops out in terms of the pricing at 1,500 bucks or so for a streamer, that's where NAD begins. NAD begins then at that price point and goes up from there. And we have various CI solutions. So you can get our new PoE S2 coming soon in late April, early May. We're testing that now. Our local rep force, a couple of folks who are on the call today, Glenn, John, a few others, Matt, already are playing with those and testing and doing software verification testing for us today. So we'll be shipping our PoE streamer here in just about a month's time.
And is that the only PoE device you have, or are there others?
On,
I'm
on,
sorry, I'm
on
not
the,
as familiar, and this is where, like,
that's
hey, I
okay.
am still a novice in the BlueOS world, and I would love to learn more.
I haven't. Shame on me for not getting you your sample piece to test,
I was going to demo
Oki.
it right here.
But yeah, so we have one piece on the Resi side, and we have a few pieces on the Pro side. The Pro side has different distribution and different margin structures and things. But yeah, we're getting into it, and it's super exciting because it's finally kind of coming to the Resi market in a big way. And again, once the S2 is available, you can do three S2s side by side, all three of them standard PoE. So you can have basically six independent zones with three PoE Ethernet ports, and you're done.
And David, are you seeing the adoption of PoE a little bit more, even though, like, hey, maybe you said some, mass production home builders, but they still want to have a rock solid solution? Are you seeing this as a good opportunity with, a holistic PoE solution from the networking, the access points, music, control, cameras, and so on?
Yeah, PoE and low voltage without sounding like a jerk is where it's at. I mean, from lighting through music distribution through control platforms, PoE is the way to go. Taking it out of the electrical domain eliminates problems, at least 50% of them right off the bat. It eliminates the need for certain levels of skill as it relates to installation. So it keeps your costs lower. And third, most importantly, is it's something that is reliable or stable because you can protect it. So all of those things I think it's a no-brainer. It's a
Yeah.
must
You know,
play type of device.
we do a class on networking over here at Blue Sound and BlueOS and Lenbrook. And what's funny about it is the tendency for integrators to put everything on Wi-Fi is sort of a natural one, right? But I think what's important is that we build resilient systems. We build for resiliency because you don't know as an integrator what the client's going to put onto the Wi-Fi network in 5 years or in 5 months. And what also changes the equation are human being bodies, our physical bodies. When you pack a house full of 15 people for Thanksgiving, that completely changes the Wi-Fi scenario. I've done a little bit of pro audio work and doing some sound mixing, and basically, human bodies are big bags of water, and we absorb sound and we absorb energy. And Wi-Fi radios emit electromagnetic energy to translate data. And so when you've got a bunch of people in a house, it's going to the Wi-Fi on Friday night trying to watch Netflix is going to be very different than Tuesday morning when the system gets installed. And so I think that's why PoE is so valuable is that it takes so many of these unknowns off the table because you want to bill once and you want to get in and get the system installed and get off the job site. All of the extra billing with service calls and things just kill us as an industry. So I think PoE speaks to that.
No, that's great, and it's funny. So before Brilliant, and I've been here, it'll be 7 years this summer. I was with a Wi-Fi company, Eero, and I would go out and give trainings and all of this, and I would tell them like, hey, if you can hardwire an extra Eero AP or have it be Wi-Fi, 100% you should hardwire. And your devices, if you have the ability to hardwire, use a switch, you should hardwire. And they're like, wait, but you're the network guy,
You're
you're
the
the
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi
guy.
guy. I'm like, yeah, I want the Wi-Fi to always be rock solid. If you have the capability to hardwire, absolutely, you should hardwire as many things as you can. And then, Marshall, to your point of, hey, adding more people in, all the more devices, it's all more interference. Now you have these things that are all shouting at each other. There was the classic Tim Cook Apple demo or Steve Jobs Apple demo where, hey, I need everybody to turn their phones into cell phone mode or airplane mode so everything would work. And then, of course, his demo worked because it's all emitting frequencies. And it's just, we don't know what's going to be able to connect, what's not. To your point, Marshall, what's installed in 5 weeks or 5 years, or even the newest devices. We're up to Wi-Fi 7. You know how many compatible devices have a Wi-Fi 7 chip?
None.
None. It's all marketing. It's all shtick. Most don't even have Wi-Fi 6 AX chips yet. Like it's an adoption. It's scheme. It's ploy to try and upgrade and upgrade and upgrade. But you need to be aware of that when you're building out these systems. So rock solid Wi-Fi, hardwiring devices with PoE if you can, but then it builds the backbone for everything else that if you don't have the ability to hardwire, you can have the confidence in that BluOS speaker connecting, in that Brilliant device connecting, in that, doorbell, lock, garage door, whatever it is that's connecting to. So these are things, David, I'm sure when you're walking at home, you're planning, you're talking with the client to make sure they understand the pros and cons to each one of these different products.
Very first thing that we address in the pre-wire meeting is,
Mm,
when people are beginning to build their houses, they need to, and builders don't want to put any wire in the house.
right.
Think that the 5G T-Mobile box is the solution to life's problem. And you stick it on your fireplace. Anyway, I bring that point up because that's the first point of conversation with every client is they tell me I don't plug anything. I use my phone and my laptop and I'm on Wi-Fi or I have this tablet. And I tell them, if it doesn't move, it plugs in. That's the rule of life. If it doesn't move, it
Plug it
plugs in.
in.
Okay. And don't tell me you can't. I'll even give you the wire. All right.
One of the things that we say is a $10 Ethernet cable is better than a $1,000 Wi-Fi network. And it's true. And I
Exactly
love
right.
I love the comment about Eero. But
Yes.
PoE is not complicated. I mean, I have
No.
I have a switch upstairs and a switch downstairs. Both of them have four PoE ports, up to PoE plus. My product is standard PoE, the S2 coming soon, and you plug it in and it's online. I mean, there's no setup. If you wanted to get fancy and do MAC address reservations or whatever, knock yourself out. But most of these switches are plug and play.
Yeah. And that's not a knock, to be clear, on Eero or anything like that. I actually want to give a shout out to the team at Eero. They gave me their new PoE gateway. So I was
Cool.
powering a speaker, I was powering a Brilliant control, and it all worked flawlessly. So now I have the desire, like, yeah, I can just run the cord up into my attic. Now I can start to drop other device, like, hey, I want some cameras here. I can do a PoE camera, which is going to be great. Tie it all in together. I did see this question pop up, Nicholas. We'll answer live here, but yes, if you have an older Brilliant free software update, as with anything, that is live, so you can add the BlueOS integration into any Brilliant. So the first Brilliant that we sold back in the fall of 2018, that can do everything that one of these can do today out of the box. So 100%. You can go back, visit old clients. It's a great excuse to go back and revisit. Say, hey, let me get you some upgraded speakers. Let me sell you this fantastic solution, and it's going to tie in together. So
Although
yeah,
I
you
would
can type that
recommend
in,
to
Marshall.
go
Oh, go ahead, Berman. or David?
I said all of my panels except for one are old, first gen, and
Mm,
they work flawlessly.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. We got to get you an upgrade. Get you second gen panel.
I just spoke with Temlock. I'll be placing an order.
There you go. Yeah, for a PoE, it does require the second gen panel. So once you get a
Mhm.
PoE device, Marshall, I know you had the little plug-in right there. I would love for you to just be able to give a quick demo of that. Oh, we got. Oh, who's
Right
sharing
on
their
time,
screen?
man. Right on time, right? So
Oh, the
here's
iPhone mirror.
my
Look at this. Look at this. This is fantastic.
so for the uninitiated, this is the Brilliant app, and I'm doing this, obviously through screen share, so it's gonna tiny bit of latency here. And I get it. If you're not a Taylor Swift fan, that's okay. But that's the Brilliant app, and obviously, how many different ways can you do a music app? In the Brilliant app, obviously, it integrates lighting as well. So you saw my lights in there, right? My desk light, I've a video light. I've got some old Philips Hue stuff down there. I can come in here and, of course, jump over to the Blue Sound app or the BluOS app, and I'll just do this a little bit faster on my phone here. There we go. So this is the Blue Sound app, same room, same song, and again, same volume control here, just like that.
Mirrors in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Blue Sound app, we put the play cue here at the top as well. This is the Blue Sound app. I'll show you my zone chooser here, my players. I can scroll down and see all the different Blue Sound players in my system.
Just like me,
This,
tons.
yeah, tons. This is the new S2 that's PoE. So this is plugged into to an Ethernet switch that's got PoE right there. There's zone one and zone two. It's telling me I want an update. Why not? We'll do an update. So what's so significant, of course, about the integration is, and that was just a little live demo of the Brilliant app and the Blue Sound app. But what's so significant is, again, no drivers. It just auto discovers right there on the network. If you keep the zone names the same and you use things like Apple HomeKit, it'll auto populate and organize those in the zone for you, along with everything else. So I've been blown away by the integration. It's just been awesome.
Love it, love it, love it. And that's kind of the whole idea. I mean, I was hoping you would leave your iPhone screen up there and then on your
Yep.
control because you remapped a slider to the volume, correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I love it.
Oh
If
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so if you want to share your iPhone screen again real quick.
Well, the thing you can't show is you can't show the hardware buttons, right?
No, 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 I know, but I want what I'm getting at is as you're moving the slider, you're going to see in the app that it
Ah, yeah.
moves
I'll
and it's
put that
working
back up.
together. That's what I'm going for here.
Yeah, I'll put that back up one
Yeah, so
second.
sorry I wasn't as clear, but again, it's I always talk about, whether you're touching it, whether you're using your voice, whether you're using the
Right.
app. It's like multiple remote controls for the same exact system, so they're always talking together in perfect harmony. So as Marshall ups the volume there with the slider, so go to up the volume, you can see in the app, hey, great, now it's moving up and down in the app as well. So it's one person moves it up, one person moves it down. Yes, you can have these little music battles, as we always like to call it, but it's always working in perfect sync, which is fantastic. So
Mhm.
love
And
how
so
that's
obviously if this were in the room with me installed in the wall, I could have one do the lights and one do the sound.
Yes.
exactly.
And it's just fantastic. And then of course you have the hidden gestures with the touch screen and some of the other cooler stuff that guys like you, Oki, know about. But yeah, it works. It just
Yeah.
works.
All the little ins and outs. I'm like, oh, you got a two gang panel that controls three lights. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you got to use the gesture on there. That way you free up your slider because then your slider can do the volume. They're like,
Right.
I had no idea. It's like, that's
Right.
why we want to teach you about this stuff. That's why we have to see
Right.
these experiences. We got to share these best practices,
Right.
everything that we've been doing and that's out there. So we've been
And the
talking.
more you can, and sorry, I was just going to say, when you can wow the client with that, when you can wow the client and make them feel smart and make them feel special, you own them. You
Yeah.
totally own them.
This is for my edification, maybe for everybody's. Marshall, the BluOS app specifically. Do you need to be on the home's Wi-Fi for that to work?
Yeah, great question, Oki. So we actually just came out with an installer application. So we're getting this question a lot, the remote monitoring. Remote monitoring is not a flat rate service, right? It's not like shipping a box across the country to grandma. There is a reoccurring charge to that as a manufacturer. So we're not doing remote monitoring of any kind right now. You can kind of get there using some other music services that offer some cloud-based control, but Generally, we work with partners who do this. We work with Donuts. We work with a couple others on the pro side. So there are lots of different ways to do that. If you're doing a job, and this is what I tell a lot of my dealers, if you're doing a job and it's more than about $100 in gas round trip to service that client, put a Mac Mini, put a little Intel Nook, a little headless PC, put that in the customer's house, make it part of your service agreement level with them, your SLA agreement with them. And then, most of these apps, as long as the computer's on, have a very minimal annual service. So the VNC clients, right? So you can remote into that Windows or Mac Mini, do the servicing and get out of there without having to roll a truck for $100 worth of gas.
Yeah,
So,
it's a
Or you
great
can be a
thing. And
brilliant dealer.
yeah,
what was that,
well,
David?
I said, or you can be a brilliant dealer.
Or you
yeah,
can,
and
We
that's
can
what
control them
maybe.
through the Brilliant app.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
that's where
Yes.
I was getting around to
Sorry.
it there. No, no, you're golden.
Oh,
And
no,
that's
that's
where, again,
good.
we're still learning each other's products here.
Yes.
It's a demo that I love to do. It's okay. We do these integrations, but for us at Brilliant, it's not just about working with, it's how do we make their product experiences better. And let's say I'm a homeowner and I have BluOS and I leave the house and I ask the kids, hey, did you guys pause the music? And they're like, yeah, we paused the music. And then you come home hours later and the music's still playing. You're like, I couldn't check, like you little rascals,
Right.
you.
We,
Whereas
we
if you have
can't
the
tell.
brilliant, yeah, with a Brilliant app, what's on the home's Wi-Fi? Brilliant. So anywhere in the world your phone has data, you can control that system. Now we can take it a step
Oh.
further. For those of you that aren't familiar or haven't signed up with Brilliant, we have what we call ProView, which is your professional dashboard. In your organization, any of your techs, anybody who installs a home, you now have access to that home. So you can add a speaker remotely. You can configure the sliders remotely. You can change the gestures, the motion, create the scenes, everything remotely, more features so you don't have to roll a truck and you can now service that client in that same sort of space. What's nice for us? That's a free service that we offer. We do not charge that to our pros. You just have to email proview@brilliant.tech. We sign up your organization. You add all your techs in, and then voila, you can now get to any home. We do limit the camera access because we don't want you to look into the homeowner's cameras.
Mm.
That's for privacy and security reasons, of course. But again, that extra value of you can know what's going on if you do truly need to roll a truck. But they call you up, hey, I'm adding another speaker in. Can you help me out? Sure. You hop into your app, you jump into that home, you can set it up. You can do all that remotely, which is fantastic. I'm trying to think,
So
Berman,
that would look
you've used this feature, yes?
Yes, as a matter of
Yeah, there we
fact.
go.
so that would look like this.
Uh-huh.
And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, I had no idea that you could do that, and I just built all music off while you were talking, Oki, and it just turns all the
Bingo.
music off in that zone.
Hey,
That's
love
awesome.
that. That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And the test to that is you turn off your Wi-Fi. You turn off the Wi-Fi on
Mm.
your phone, and you see, oh, everything still works. It's all right there, and I
Still
can
works.
control it all,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. And David, have you used that ProView feature yet of kind of jumping in between homes?
No, I haven't. Not on that. We've
Mm.
only done two since the launch of ProView, so
Yes.
you'll
So
forgive me. I can't grandfather in the old ones.
unfortunately not, but if you did want to, you would just simply have that homeowner add your anybody from your organization in that email into the home, then it would pop up in there. So unfortunately
Perfect.
not backwards compatible for anything net new. It will automatically be populated, but if you do talk to those clients again, if they're okay with it, great. Now we can service you remotely, whatever that SLA is that you have, which is fantastic.
Yes. And I should also mention that our model is such where in a lot of these cases, we will install the Brilliant months before we meet the client during the
Mm.
construction phase of their house. So we go in afterwards and program it and offer them.
Yep, the day one you get that internet set up should be the day that you're going into the home as the professional.
Correct.
Perfect. Looks like I had a question from Lee. What's the best way to get signed up? I believe with Brilliant, you can just email sales@brilliant.tech, and we can then reach out to you directly. Maybe you're not partners with BluOS yet. Marshall, let's say you want to try and get in with BluOS. What would be the best way?
I'm just texting it into to the chat now. Just send me an email, and I'll connect you with our sales staff, rep force, distributors, whatever you need based upon where you're at.
hmm And if you were specifically talking about ProView and you're already a Brilliant dealer, then you would just email proview@brilliant.tech. There we go. Blue Sound dealer already. Fantastic. Love that. It's Simply Stereo. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome, Lee.
Perfect. But yeah, if you have other questions, please type them into the Q&A. We have about 12 minutes left. It didn't have to go the full hour. I just wanted to see where the conversation went. It felt like it's been a pretty valuable discussion. So you'll reach out. Fantastic. Yeah, it's an amazing integration. It's just bringing you value to be able to offer more devices, build a bigger basket, really complete that whole solution, and then own that homeowner as well. So they're always coming back to you. And then the word of mouth is the best recommendation. I had a great experience with this guy. I'm going to trust him. Great. Now you're getting more business in that sense. So love what we've been able to build. Thrilled that BluOS has been able to come on. You're interested, Joe, with Joe AV Excellence? Fantastic. Again, sales at brilliant.tech. You can always email me directly, OKI at brilliant.tech. We can get you going. And then Brent with
Ask
coming in
a
with a good
question.
question. Oh, go ahead, David.
I want to direct a question to Marshall. Marshall, you mentioned something early on that you're adding new products, including sound bars. That's of particular interest to me. So I know you originally had one, and I've sold those, but what are you adding to that?
Well, I had some one or two little audio issues there, but we have two new sound bars, and those were kind of added. And thank you for teaming me up, man. I'll get you the $20 here coming up, or the
Yeah,
bottle of bourbon.
sell
We so we introduced at CD last year two new sound bars. They began shipping late 25, now early 26. It is the Blue Sound Pulse Cinema family. We have a Pulse Cinema and a Pulse Cinema Mini. And if you're putting in a TV larger than 55 inches, which is a lot of systems now, the Cinema is the larger of the two, and it's $14.99 US retail. And then if it's south of 55 inches, the Cinema Mini is ideal, and that's actually a little bit smaller than our prior gen soundbar, the Soundbar Plus. But the new Cinema family is beautiful, really well designed. We have a new wall mount that's universally compatible with both soundbars for articulating arms, whatever you may be installing, and that is included in the box. So we give you the wall mount in the box, which is nice with all models. In our larger soundbar, it's a three-channel solution. So there's a left center, and then you've got a center channel module on the larger soundbar, and you also have vertical front height channels as well, built in. So it's basically a 3.1.2 soundbar, all built in. So it's a very, very cool solution. Bluesound.com for more information.
Thank you.
Thanks for the tip of the hat.
Uh, I hate to say it, at the end of the day, I think we lost a lot of business in that mid to low end to get people up to our better soundbar.
Yeah,
I'm happy to
yeah.
hear that we have released.
And I think what's great is you kind of, if you're in the audio business, you have to have a sound bar in terms of being a manufacturer. And I saw Lee from Simply Stereo. Lee's a big Dolly dealer. There are
Mhm.
so many solutions out there where you can do on-wall solutions, not just with a Brilliant keypad, but with some on-wall speakers like from Dolly. And we also distribute Dolly here at Lenbrook. And so what's great is, sell the client a soundbar if they want a soundbar. But, don't be afraid to ask the customer, have you had a soundbar before? Is this something you specifically want to have, or do you just want to add audio to your home? Because having that open-ended conversation is just a really healthy way to engage people and meet them where they're at and provide them a solution. Because between the three of us and our whole industry, we have the solutions. We just have to ask the questions.
Perfect way to position it. Love that. And the Pulse Cinema sounds great. I bet it does. That's what I need. I need a bunch. I always want more stuff, more
I
gear.
need to get you a soundbar, man. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Perfect. If there are any other questions, feel free to type into the Q&A. We'll give it another minute or two here. But before we get to the time, I do at least want to say thank you, Marshall, and thank you, David, for hopping on. I know your time is valuable. You could be doing a million other things, but to be able to take a bit of your time to share your experiences with us, with our dealer base, really help to show value, spark some ideas, how to position it, how to win is going to be fantastic. So, Nicholas, yes, this has been recorded. What's fantastic is this is going to go on Brilliant's YouTube channel as well. So if you need to relay this to any of your cohorts, team members, they can watch and get a learning and understanding. We'll also be sharing it. Marshall, if you need this, we'll be sharing it to you as well. That way you can have access and give it to your dealer base. But really want to make sure this information is out there for everybody. It's all about sharing the knowledge. Generally, if one of our partners is going to win, everybody's going to win because the rising tide lifts all ships in this industry. So we're here to make things work. We're here to work together and really just deliver what we know a truly smart, fantastic home can be. And in the next 5 to 10 years, David, you've heard me say this all the time. We're not going to call it a smart home. We're just going to call it a home because the expectation of smart, how everything just works together, is going to be there. And it's the same way we talk about cars. I'm not going to go out and buy a new car and say, "Hey, Marshall, check out my new smart car." Why is it called a smart car? We expect it to be smart now.
Does it
The
have a button for
infotainment
windows?
system. I'm
Do the
sorry?
windows go down? The windows go down on their own?
Windows go down.
Yeah, the windows go down. You got it. So, no, but that's it. Not seeing any other questions pop up. So, for those attendees, thank you so much for hopping on. Again, appreciate it. If you have any questions for myself, reach out to Oki at Brilliant.tech, or for sales in general, sales at Brilliant.tech. For Marshall, you can reach out to, I believe it's just Marshall at, I didn't hear it. What's the email?
It's in the chat. Yeah, it's my Lenbrook email. Yep.
Perfect. And then David, as always, a fantastic partner and advocate for us. And we love everything that you're doing, and we hope to continue to be great partners with you.
You're kind. Me too.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a
Oki.
great
Thanks,
rest of the
Brilliant.
day. We'll
Take
see
care,
you.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye-bye.